This is the DTV Digest, the podcast that brings you news and reviews of films which didn't make it to the cinema. And now, here's your host, Mike Parkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DTV Digest. I'm your host, Mike Parkin, and joining me tonight are Richard Hawes.
Hello, everyone.
And Stephen Lockridge.
Hello.
This is our 200th episode. Can you believe that? And to celebrate, we have got 6 films that we're going to be covering. We're going to kick off with Sharkbait. Then we have the Icelandic film Cop Secret. Lena Heady in 9 Bullets. Then we've got Shut In, Ghosts of the Ozarks, and Image of Victory. Our short shot this week is Fatal Love. And then we're going to round off with Adrian Brody in Backtrack in our DTV Throwback. So without further ado, let's crack on. Our first film then is Sharkbait. 5 friends on holiday at a beach resort borrow a couple of jet skis for some open water hijinks, but a silly accident leaves them stranded on the ocean and one of them seriously injured. And that's when things get really bad. Okay, Rich, the latest film from James Nunn. And
always exciting.
It is exactly. I was about to say, this is, he is one of those directors now who, he's consistently delivered, I think. And I think this is a real step up. You know what I mean? This is a total different ball game to the sort of films he's delivered. I'm sure it must have, brought new challenges for him, shooting on the open water and all that sort of stuff, and the sort of special effects involved. I think he did a bloody good job overall. This is, it's a similar, that's not the word. It's a familiar scenario. We've got these people sort of stuck on the ocean. Great white turns up because it can smell the blood in the water. And it's then a case of attrition as we go through the cast. But he handles it with aplomb. There are some really gruesome moments in this. And apart from I had 1 or 2 dodgy CGI moments, but other than that, I think the effects sort of really merge well. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it is completely different to what we've seen James Nunn do before. He's, becomes kind of synonymous with action movies in particular, and, urban settings and all that sort of thing, and fight scenes, gunplay. And this is, none of that here. This is a, Jaws knockoff, basically. We're in, that kind of territory again of, a bunch of people stranded in we've been talking a lot about, films of this particular type of.
Well, we reviewed one, didn't we, called Great White last year, at the beginning of last year.
I didn't see that one with you, but
right.
This is from one of the. This is they share an executive producer, I believe, as well as 47 Meters Down movies by Johannes Roberts. So there's kind of this. There was this like shark movie renaissance kind of thing. It's like all of a sudden everyone's making shark movies every 5 seconds, and some of them all come from the same people, but. Yeah, this I think although we've seen a lot of this kind of stuff, including variations using crocodiles and whatnot, I thought it was really solid. I thought the cinematography is really good. It's got really warm, inviting colours from the start. There's a sort of an opening party atmosphere. It's the location or the setting, I should say. I'm not sure where it's shot, but the setting I believe is Mexico. And although I think it was shot with quite a limited budget. I think it's fair to say, but you don't really feel it. There's not a huge amount of extras. There's not really many sets or locations, but it all just sort of feels it works. And you can. I mean, years ago we had Open Water, which was one of the films that sort of kick-started the sharks thing again. And then we had a film called Adrift, which is probably the one closest to this. I remember Adrift is It was a cinema release one, but it came out as
Yeah,
open.
because that wasn't a shark movie, although they did call it Open Water 2, didn't they?
That's right, yeah, because in that one, it was a bunch of people and they're on a boat and they get off the side and then they can't get back on the boat and then
because somebody forgot to lower the ladder.
Yeah.
Idiots.
That was good, and this is very similar to that. I mean, the characters are really. It's a stupid teens movie kind of thing. So the stupid teens do a stupid thing and then have to pay the price, and then inevitably there's a final girl kind of situation going on and stuff. You've seen it all before, but I thought it worked really well. Yeah, CGI ropey a little bit at times, but there's some nice practice.
Only once or twice. There's only once or twice towards the end.
I thought. Low budget. It's par for the course, really. I think so.
Well, there's a lot of really good sort of practical stuff in here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, the bits where people are getting torn up a bit and whatever, I thought was all well handled, and the fact that they've probably shot this in a water tank or whatever, I guess, however they've done it.
I reckon the night scenes, certainly, the night scenes were probably done in water tank. The rest of it was pretty much. If they did it in a water tank, they did a bloody good job, because it's
it was a water tank or open water, or in a sort of secure sort of location. But it's very convincing. However they've done it, although we've seen it all before, and you can kind of feel the beats. You are interested, you are engaged with the characters, who aren't particularly likable for the most part. If I like the sort of the stuff with the jet skis was quite good, and I mean, I feel like to say anything more really would spoil it, because it's really very basic, kind of stripped down. But
it is, but it's never, as I said, it's not visually boring at all. You're not.
No, absolutely, no.
Because there's good overhead shots and all sorts. There's good underwater photography. It mixes it up and it does a really good job. And you do sort of feel, you can feel the anticipation and the anxiety at times when the shark's not there, and you think it's going to turn up any minute now. It's going to bloody turn up any minute. It just works really, really well.
Yeah, I was thinking this would play really well with like teens or tweens, like a party movie kind of thing. I think they'd eat it up, and it would, give them, because I actually did think the shocks and stuff worked really well.
Yes.
Even though I've seen a lot of this stuff and I don't really jump very often, but I did actually feel myself getting caught off guard a couple of times.
and when things do get gory, they do get gory, sort of thing. It doesn't shy away from the injuries and things that the characters sort of get. It's kind of a really nasty one to them.
Did you see the Alicia Silverstone one recently, which was originally called The Requiem, but I can't remember what I think it came.
I think I saw a trailer for it. I haven't seen
that's probably the most recent one, but then there's been other stuff like
there's a Chinese one coming out as well, which owes a lot more of a debt to something like Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, okay.
Or the Meg, it's an underwater facility sort of thing. It looks like a bit of money was thrown at it.
Oh, there's quite a few of those going around. I think there's like Land Shark and whatnot.
Land Shark actually looks quite good as well, I have to say. Yeah.
But then you've had the Deep Blue Sea sequels recently as well, all part of this sort of wave, no pun intended, of
the second Deep Blue Sea movie is actually really good. It's
Sorry,
a good laugh. I said the second Deep Blue Sea sequel is good. Deep Blue Sea 3. The middle one's rubbish.
Okay. Yeah. I do want to check those out. So it's kind of to be honest, it's kind of reinvigorated my interest in this kind of movie, because I've not been drawn to things like Shallows and stuff, but I thought this actually took me back to when I saw Adrift, and I was really compelled by a fairly low budget, very familiar kind of story, but just really well told and executed.
What was the other? Oh, The Reef was the other one, wasn't it? That was a few years back.
Oh, there's loads of them. I lose track on how many of these things.
I'd say this fares favourably up against Great White, although Great White had better characters. The characters are better, were more likable. And you actually wanted some of them to survive.
What was the scenario on that? Because in this one, it is a Great White as well.
in that one, it's about this guy and his girlfriend who run a like a tourist sort of seaplane
Little
tour of the
Cessna
island.
plane.
Kind of thing. That's it.
I
And,
remember. I did see that. Well, I remember us doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was, but this favors very well, and I think James Nunn does an excellent job, and he it feels like at the moment he can handle just about anything.
Well, if you think, you see, like, I mean, Johannes Roberts has had a few years on him. He'd been sort of in the low budget DTV kind of realm for quite a while before 47 Meters Down kind of took it to the next level, and he's kind of his career is sort of he's doing a lot better now, and I think this is the kind of movie that can do the same for James, because he's a similar kind of director, although James is much better with the action. But they both come from a sort of a similar place, and these kind of movies can sort of bring out their strengths, I think, and
definitely,
and it definitely shows that he's capable of much more than standard action action fare for what he was doing for with WWE and all that kind of thing.
For the Marine 4 he did.
So I'm really excited to see what he does next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, Rich, how are you going to score it?
I am going to give it a 7.
Yeah, I'll join you on a 7. This is definitely very good, very entertaining, definitely sort of a good film to pop on, getting home from the pub, beer and a pizza night. Definitely check it out. So that is Sharkbait, 2 7s. Go check it out. Our next review is Cop Secret. Busi is Reykjavik's toughest cop, a loose cannon who threw the rule book out the window years ago, but damn it, he gets results. When he is partnered with rival cop Horder, it takes to take down a gang of violent bank robbers. More than sparks are going to fly as Busi wrestles with his repressed sexual feelings for his new partner. This is a brilliant love letter to the buddy cop genre. The fact that it's coming out of Iceland is just like weird, but I think it gets all the action beats just about perfectly done. I really enjoy this, really enjoy the humor of it. Steve, what do you make of Cop Secret?
Excuse me. Sorry, just got a cough then. I really enjoyed this. It's definitely ripping off Bad Boys. I mean, there's actually
Bad Boys, Tango and Cash, Lethal Weapon. Yeah, there's all
but I mean, if you look at it, there's actual shot-for-shot recreations. The planes coming over the.
Oh yeah.
The side.
I know exactly which shot you mean. Yeah.
Oh, it's right from the start with the shot of the water. Yeah, it's all very very knowing nods.
Yeah, and the camera spinning around and as they're standing up and stuff like that. But I thought the characters are great. Especially Busey and is it Hodor you pronounce it?
Yeah, Hodor or something like that. Yeah,
Hodor,
yeah.
And the female police chief, I thought she was brilliant. Absolutely hilarious. Action was good. The story was really good, especially between the two guys. I thought that was really well handled. The only thing that let it down slightly for me was the actual bad guy.
Yeah,
it was the performance as well over the top, and I know
it pushed it into sort of Zoolander territory almost, didn't it? It felt like it was in the wrong film a little bit.
But it does not. But all his dialogue's in English.
Yeah.
And one of them does say, "Why is he speaking English?
Yeah.
Why isn't he just speaking Icelandic?" But he never answers it. He says it, but I don't know. He was the only thing that let it down slightly for me. Everything else, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was absolutely cracking, and even the plot is because they're breaking into these banks but not stealing anything.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Well, why? Obviously, as the characters are as well. And when it's actually revealed, and he says, he even says it's Die Hard 3.
That's right. He does, didn't he? He goes, "Oh my God, this is the plot for Die Hard 3."
Yeah, it's Die Hard with a Vengeance, you know. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. The action done was done really well as well. Which when it started, I thought that might, you know, they might lose it a bit on that, but no, not at all. They really did nail it, and even the finale, yeah, it was cracking. I really, really enjoyed this one.
Rich, over to you, mate.
Yeah, I think I mean the key thing we haven't mentioned so far is the LGBTQ kind of gay hero hook to the movie, which now what's interesting is in the world of DTV, there's a whole lot of films with gay lead characters, or you know, gay or lesbian or whatever, but especially gay characters. Distributors like Matchbox and TLA Releasing putting out quite a lot of stuff, which, you know, to a very select audience. And this one is kind of similar to those kind of movies, but it's not. It's got mainstream appeal, so it's more of a crossover. And I think it's kind of it's a film that's trying to break down barriers, but it's a film that sort of seems to be in two minds about what it wants to do. So it kind of knows the whole juxtaposition of homosexuality and an action hero and stuff is rife for humor in the old-fashioned sense, but at the same time it sets that up and then kind of steers away from it because it respects its characters. It's not kind of trying to make him like a, you know, effeminate or anything, or parody them. It's actually treating them seriously and treating their emotions seriously. So it all set up originally, like, and it, you know, the promotional stuff says like it's a Naked Gun style comedy or whatever. It really isn't.
No,
the comedy it's actually quite an uneven film because there's long periods without any humor, and there's a lot of serious stuff that happens in it. There's one point where, you know, the hero takes his landlord out to help him on a case or whatever and gets him killed. You know, it's like a really serious scene, and it has consequences. But I will say that, you know, although it seems a little bit in two minds about what it's trying to do, that it is brilliantly executed. The action, I mean, from the start, those, you know, Michael Bay kind of shots really set it up nicely, and I thought the action was very well executed. You know, all the characters are really engaging and interesting. You know, the hero is kind of supposed to be like a Jason Statham kind of character, and then you've got Herder, the sort of the more well-dressed character, clearly is Ray
Tango Cash. It's Tango Cash.
Yeah, it's very much, you know. So I love all the nods and stuff, and some of them are more explicit than others, but it all works really well. They also, you know, the whole climax of a football stadium kind of thing has been seen quite a lot as well. But again,
final score.
Sorry, it seems to be quite progressive with because it's a women's football, which is actually quite topical.
Yes, that's right.
Women's coming up at the moment, and you know, women's football is becoming so big now. You know, I don't think it'll be too long before, you know, it's properly mainstream. I mean, it's already getting a lot more coverage, and this film kind of seems ahead of the curve on that. That sort of thing. Now, interestingly, the film's director was a footballer.
He was goalkeeper, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, he was a professional football goalkeeper who played for Iceland's national team.
Yeah,
and apparently he was best known for turning away a penalty kick from Lionel Messi in the 2018 World Cup. Yeah. And this is his feature film debut. Whether he's made, what other stuff he's made or whatever, I'm not sure. But I don't think we've ever watched a film, you know, an action film or a genre film. Well, I think we've seen some thrillers from Iceland, but you know, some sort of spooky, dark sort of films or whatever, but nothing sort of bombastic.
Not like this. Because one of the things I do enjoy about this is the fact that it does just like it, you know, it ramps things up. Like I think there's a couple of times when Hodor, you know, he's like the opposite of Cash in a way, opposite of Tango in a way, because he's the one who makes everything go boom. You know, he's sort of more the Riggs character sort of thing. You know, it's like just, you know, there's a bit, there's like a Chinese fireworks factory or something. He just blows up this whole district and sort of things like that, and gets chewed out by the chief, which I thought was absolutely really brilliant as well. Yeah, no, this it's just put a huge smile on my face basically.
So how did you get on with that shift between, when they're making jokes and when it's actually being played, no pun intended.
I didn't really sort of notice, to be honest, that much. I liked how it handled the sort of sexual relationship. As you said, it didn't sort of make either of them sort of effeminate. If anything, sort of like the two versions of sort of overt masculinity. But and we have sort of Bruce's character, he's sort of wrestling with his sort of sexuality, and he sort of has this sort of self-loathing about sort of the fact that he likes people. It doesn't. He's a bit of a dinosaur in that he doesn't realise that his own views are outdated, and then actually everyone else is much more accepting, or would be more accepting than he believes.
He thinks,
even his girlfriend knows, she deep down she's known for years, sort of thing, where she's like, oh, finally you figured it out, which I thought was great. But I thought it handled that pretty well.
Yeah, I think the thing you've got to be wary of is it's kind of promoted as, like you say, like a spoof. Don't go in expecting that, because it's not. It is. It is funny. It is moving. It does tread that fine line, but I think it treads it really well.
Yeah.
It's not Austin Powers or anything like that.
It's not Austin Powers,
no.
And it's not making fun of the fact that they're gay. It's either making fun of the fact
not at all.
His it's his own feelings and how he sort of deals with them is what it comes down to.
The majority of the humor is about acknowledging film conventions, and
yes, that's right. Like
Hot Fuzz, it's not really, because Hot Fuzz was kind of like an action. It wasn't a spoof or anything, but it was a comedy that touched on action and conventions and stuff in a similar way, but it was again more about the character. That film goes sort of a bit more doolally than this one. This one, the silliest thing probably is, I think you're right, the silliest thing about the plot is the villain. But the rest of it, he's shooting people point blank in the head and stuff. It's really serious. It's not like they don't play it for laughs. They play it like a serious scene. You're not meant to.
But I did like that henchman who's like just questioning everything. He's like, why is he talking in English? Do you understand him? Brilliant. How are we going to score it, guys? Steve?
I'll give it an 8.
And Rich?
Yes, an 8 from me as well.
Definitely an 8 from me as well. So 3 8s for Cop's Secret. Go check it out. Okay. Who's seen 9 Bullets?
Yep.
Me.
Both of you. Good. Cool. Okay, Ian 5. Our next film is 9 Bullets. Gypsy is a burlesque singer who finds herself having to protect the young boy who lives next door when his parents are murdered by a mob boss. Okay, so this stars Lena Heady, and I think her role in this is absolutely superb. I think she plays this great character. We've got Sam Worthington as a bad guy. We've got some other people say yada yada. I just wish Lena Heady, as this character, was in a different film. I did not get on with this at all. It's just not my thing, sort of badass woman having to sort of come to terms with repressed maternal instincts to look after somebody's kid. No, not for me at all. Steve, I hope you got on better with this than I did.
Not really, to be fair. I thought Lena Heady was great in it. Sam Worthington just slobs around looking like a twat. But it's one of them. You've got this great opening scene, where you think, oh shit. And then, his line is, I don't just kill one, I kill the whole family, so I've got to kill the kid. And she goes on the run, takes him away she's doing like a final tour of clubs or whatever. And it just gets bogged down, and it's just slow. Nothing much really happens. It's just just trying to find them. and that's about it. And it was just so flat and dull and boring. Honestly, apart from Lena Heady, the rest of it, take or leave. You know, it's like, it reminded me of like something like Turner and Hooch without the comedy. You know what I mean? It was just it's generic and been done before, and yeah, no, I didn't get along with it at all.
It's interesting you mentioned Turner and Hooch, because I was almost 100% sure that the ending had been reshot, or because it just seemed like such an about face right at the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but to me, there's no way what happens would happen, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know what you mean. I was like,
not a chance.
Not
a chance. Yeah. It's like they tacked it on. But, you know,
that's how it
couple
felt.
Scenes have been tacked on. Yeah,
that's how it felt to me. Rich, did you get on any better than us with this one?
I'm afraid I didn't. No, you know, this kind of, as you say, the sort of tough, hard as nails character, you know, being put into this position of being with a child, and you know, it warming their hearts, and you know, stuff was like, but you know, how many, you know, we've seen it so many times, and to be honest, I wasn't quite sure what was going on with her with Gypsy's character, because I was thinking this kind of thing is usually they're an assassin, and I was kind of just sort of on a default of trying to work out, so was she working as an assassin or something, because I couldn't quite work out what she's writing a book in the film. She's trying to write a novel, but she's got this association with Sam Worthington's character, who they've still got a kind of an on-off relationship, it seems, because even after the murders or whatever, she goes over to see him, and they still, you know, have an encounter, let's say, even while his girlfriend's there. But so yeah, I just thought that it didn't. It was kind of. We've seen it so many times before. I thought Lena Heady was fine, but again, didn't she just do this with Gunpowder Milkshake? You know, it's like where she was an assassin, but it was a similar role to me, it seems. And yeah, the film's got this very particular sort of music style running through it, and the songs were just
it's really, House of the Rising Sun, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, well,
which is a bit on the nose. You know, I didn't.
None of the songs, you know, there's quite a few song moments in the film where they played like a bit of music, right up to the end credits, and I wasn't getting on to the film. The director is actually a music producer, the writer director Gigi Gaston, whose partner used to be, or what was perhaps is. Manager of Sophie B. Hawkins, amongst other people. Sophie B. Hawkins being a partner now, or you know, they became involved, and you know, they're still together, I think. But I think she directed music videos and stuff, but and then done a few films. But this is probably the biggest of the films that she's done so far. You know, from what I can see from a quick glance at her filmography, don't really recognize anything, and this one was quite exciting because Lena Heady and Sam Worthington. Okay, Sam Worthington, I'm not sure about, but also have now I feel a bit sorry for him, but Cam Gigandet, or however you pronounce his name, Gigandet, sorry, he's in there, and I just feel like he deserved a bit better. I mean, he's had quite a few moderately high profile roles, and in this one he's got scenes, but he has no character. He's got like it's like it was a bit of a weird. And Barbara Hershey's in there as well. Forgot to mention that. But so there's good people in the cast. Sam Worthington is kind of doing a kind of a Johnny Depp kind of thing, I guess, where he's just going, I'm going to play it like this, and he's just being I don't know, he's not a very nice character, but like everyone sort of seems in love with him. It's like his girlfriend. Yeah. He's like with this really rich girl who's going to help make him mayor or something, but she's like just tolerating his, you know, sleeping with other people and stuff, and then she gets involved with sort of like trying to get revenge and stuff, and I'm like,
and what happened to her at the end?
I mean, that's there's no character there. They sort of introduce her in that, but there's no, dimensions or anything or establishing thing. Why is she so invested in him? Sure, she seems like a strong character who would just be able to toss him aside and just go off and do something else. But she's she's kind of going all in with this loser, basically.
Letting them sort of order around and stuff.
Yeah, and stuff. So I think the characters are not well drawn. All the actors probably deserve better. I like Barbara Hershey was pretty good.
Oh, she was good in this. Yeah, she had the best scene, basically.
Yeah,
best scene of the film.
But Lena Heady's done all this kind of stuff before, I think. Yeah. We saw her in what was it? The Contractor with the Wesley Snipes, a film with basically the same plot, exactly what we're talking about. That whole there's a cold-hearted assassin who ends up looking after a young girl and stuff, and in that one she was obviously playing a different role. She was more the investigator, trying to track him down and whatnot. But they're not a million miles apart, and it's just. She's, Sarah Connor Chronicles. She's done all this stuff. She's been around for ages, and she can do this sort of thing in her sleep. And I'll just be honest. I hoped for more. I did think. I really look forward to this.
As I said, I like the character. Just hate the film.
Yeah.
On that note, how are we going to score it, Steve?
5.
Okay, and Rich.
Yes, I'm saying 5 as well.
It's 3 5s for 9 bullets. Go check it out. Our next film is Shut In. A young ex-addict mother finds herself trapped in her own pantry by her ex-boyfriend and must find a way of protecting her children from his sex offender friend. Here we are again, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
We're in another single location with somebody trapped inside. This is a bit different. This turns it to the nth degree because literally they're stuck within one location for most of the film. It's sort of established quite early on that this pantry has a bit of a dodgy door with a bit of a dodgy lock, and it can't be opened from the inside. And she lets herself get trapped inside when she's trying to sort out her baby's bottle or something. And then her ex-boyfriend turns up and just makes the whole situation worse. How did you get on with this one?
Well, I didn't really like it from the start, to be honest. I wasn't in the mood. I didn't really like the characters and the setting. It was a bit of a slog for me to get through, to be honest. I was quite drawn in initially because it was like, oh, it's directed by DJ Caruso. That's interesting. Did Eagle Eye, Disturbia, stuff like that, and big Hollywood director. Whether it's a pandemic thing, and that's why they've done this sort of smaller scale project. I'm not sure, but possibly. But yeah, it was so heavy-handed with its setup, and then I'm watching it. I'm thinking, I know exactly. It sort of all dawned on me, and it was like, right, this is really exactly what the title says. So it's like she's gonna get shut in. Okay, I get it. It's like so on the nose. So it kind of it's like, oh, look out for that thing. That could be why are we looking at that window? Could that be an issue later? And the stuff the characters are saying, it all sets it up. And then she goes in the room and it's like, well, obviously now she's shut in. But then it kind of goes, oh no, she's not. And then it kind of adds a little. There's a little unexpected, twists and turns or whatever. Oh, and then you end up back where you expected to be. But it takes you away from what you expect because you think, right, here we are. This is what I think is going to happen from now, and I've got it all mapped out in my head, and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh no, actually, we're gonna take you in a different direction. Oh, but then we're going to put you same sort of back, but we've kind of upped the stakes a bit and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't think much of it. I quite like the fact that when she gets shut in, we're shut in there with her, so they restrict our view on anything that's happening outside.
Yeah,
so it's it becomes more of that kind of, I haven't seen Buried, but it's that kind of one person stuck in this small location kind of thing again, which we've seen a lot of since Phone Booth and that. But I just wasn't very interested in it, to be honest. I didn't really engage with it a lot. Vincent Gallo's in there, which is nice to see Vincent Gallo again. I haven't seen him for a while, but he doesn't really have much of a role, and I wasn't really that. I didn't at any point get really invested in it, and compared to like what's the Shark Bait. We're in a similar sort of realm here with Shark. I was really having fun and drawn into Shark Bait, whereas Shut In is kind of bleak and a bit depressing and not very engaging. And I felt like we watched that short film where the what was it called? With the woman goes and helps her sister because
God, yes, I did think of that one as well.
And they did set up with the kids and all that.
Was it Maggie May?
Maggie May, yeah. So the setup is very similar here with that, but with some other stuff thrown in, and I wasn't a fan.
Okay, so this is nowhere near the best of this particular genre. We've seen some really good examples of this kind of thing in the past. However, and I did not like this to begin with, but there were a couple of moments where I was on board, especially how she deals with Vincent Gallo's character early on, to make sure that he doesn't sort of molest her children, basically. I thought that was done very well, and with the right sort of level of anger and fury. I think it was also quite interesting. Usually this sort of genre, if somebody's trapped inside a house or being stalked in a house, it's a big house. It's a luxury mansion usually. This one is a very run-down sort of farmhouse. This lady is a recovering addict, about to move somewhere, probably the city, with her children, and leaving this this drug life behind, which is why her ex has turned up, because he is affronted by the fact that she's trying to move on and thinks she's better than me and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, there were a couple of moments when I was on board with this, I must admit. It did sort of grab my attention every now and again, especially towards the end. So it gets points for that. I think the setting was quite unique in that she is sort of trapped for the most part in this one place and has to try and guide her kids through the situation and that. So yeah, it was better than it started out to be, that's for sure. But not great. It's not one I'd be watching again, that's for sure. On that note, Rich, how are you going to score it?
I think to be honest, I'm gonna say, because it is well made, for what it is or whatever, but it wasn't my cup of tea, and I'll just sit on the fence with a 5. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 6 on this one. Technically well made, some good moments, but overall, I've seen it. I don't need to see it again. It's not going to be on repeat or anything like that. So that is a 5 and a 6 for Shut In. Go check it out. Our next review is Ghosts of the Ozarks. In post-Civil War Arkansas, a doctor called James heads to a secluded town at the behest of his uncle, only to find the area is haunted by strange demons who appear in a red fog. I had no idea what this film was going to be putting on. With the title like Ghosts of the Ozarks, I was thinking it was going to be something very exploitative, very low budget. It seemed really sort of generic rip-off kind of thing, sort of riding on the back of the Jason Bateman TV show or something. I really didn't know. But actually, this is, barring a bit of pacing, this is superb. This really is. This is a really good period supernatural thriller. Our main character is this guy called James, who was injured during the Civil War, but he's a physician, and his uncle, who's like the mayor of this town, has asked him to be the new physician. So he goes there. On the way there, he's accosted by someone and that person ends up getting taken by these demons in this sort of red mist. And so, he gets to this town. The whole town is like surrounded, with a sort of barricade. And he meets the sort of various people within it. And production values are excellent. Some really interesting characters in it. Not least the barman who's blind, sort of this German blind guy who can sort of work out where things are using sort of echolocation, and his wife. There's a young woman who's a hunter who lives on the outside. All these different characters, all working together. Great story. It's just really, really well done. I do urge you guys to check it out because it's one of my favorite films of the year, I must say.
Wow.
Yeah,
because it's David Arquette is in there as well, isn't he? As one of the, and who else is in the cast? I'm just sort of having a quick.
Tim Blake Nelson as well.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's got a solid cast. Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson played the barman.
Angela Bettis is in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's Lucille.
Yeah, from The Woman, among other things. Yeah, it's just really, really good. There's a couple of really shocking moments in it, as well. Certain violent moments just happen out of nowhere, as well, and it's just got a really good overall idea behind it. So this really worked. The only issue is there's a couple of scenes where this sort of delivery of the dialogue just felt a bit too stilted. It sort of dragged it a little bit. You do need a little bit of patience while it sort of builds up the characters and things before it starts, delivering. But this was very good indeed.
Yeah, one of the directors I'm just looking at, Matt Glass. He's also a composer. So he's he did the David Arquette documentary "You Cannot Kill David Arquette," but he's also did 12-Hour Shift.
That's right.
With
Angela Bettis,
yeah. So because sometimes they work together, and other times So he's
12-Hour Shift
and producer. He was a producer of 12-Hour Shift.
Yeah,
and they've worked on a few things, including some shorts and stuff, I think. So they've obviously got a diverse working relationship. They've got each got different specialties. So I presume, did he do? Did that Matt guy do the score for this one as well? Let's have a look. What was the music like in the movie?
Not very noticeable, I suppose. Yeah, but overall, I thought this worked really well. And on that note, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. So go check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, he did do the score.
Yeah,
and the cinematography,
which is very good. Yeah,
and the other. So they get involved in quite a lot of different aspects of it.
Yeah, not what I was expecting at all. Yeah, cool. All right, in 5, last one, and then one to the short.
Sorry, which one is it now?
Image of Victory.
Oh yeah, so I haven't seen this one either.
You haven't seen this one either?
No.
It's me again.
No, I've seen this one.
No, yeah.
Oh, you have?
Steve sent a message earlier saying he'd done it. That's why I didn't watch it because he'd said he'd seen it. So I thought I'll watch the shark thing instead because I didn't realize I didn't realize you had nobody else had seen Ghosts of Thingy.
In 5. Our next review is Image of Victory. Set in 1948, the kibbutz of Nizanim is under siege by the Egyptian army. The film takes the viewpoint of both the settlers defending their new home and a young filmmaker making newsreels for the Egyptian people. Again, I knew nothing about this film going in. I kind of surmised it was going to be a World War II film when we discussed it last week when it sort of was scheduled. So, and on that note, I was expecting something relatively low budget, maybe using some bits of equipment borrowed from some sort of, one of these sort of do you call them, sort of recreational sort of people who sort of do war games and all that sort of stuff, you know.
Or reenactment.
Reenactment, that's the word.
Yeah.
Well, I need to begin with that.
Lappers.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. You know, that's kind of what I was expecting. But no, this is a fully fledged, very well budgeted film, set in 1948. As I said, it deals with a real event. So when Israel was formed by, well, you know, the Allies at the end of World War II, obviously, you know, they started sort of shifting out the Palestinians, and Egypt ended up getting into a very long war with Israel over this. You know, that they were backing the Palestinians. And this film does a good job of sort of like straddling the two. It doesn't sort of overplay either side, really. If anything, it is more sympathetic towards the people living in the kibbutz, but it sort of captures the, you know, that sort of naive optimism of the filmmaker. I can't remember his name at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, this is directed by Avi Nesher.
That's right.
The reason I was interested in it was because, you know, I grew up on his action movies, and you know, that he made in America in the 90s with people like Olivia Gruner, and then, you know, he kind of went off in a different direction, and now he makes these like art films and, you know, dramas and stuff. It's like you would never realize that it was the same guy. It's just gone in such a different direction. So I was really interested to see, you know, how he's grown, you know, how, you know, broad and sort of cinematic his films have become, because it certainly looks that way. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any of the others. So is it quite a grand vision?
No, not really.
No, is it more of an?
Well, it's shot really well.
Yes.
It looks great, and the performances are great. But to me, it was just boring. It did nothing for me whatsoever.
I get English Patient kind of vibes when I look at the poster.
To be honest, yeah, kind of. You know, they're just in this kibbutz or whatever, and it's just like getting on with daily life, you know.
So is there any sort of big war scenes or anything?
The last 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I just found it a slog, to be fair. I mean, as soon as it came on and it said, like 2 hours, 10 minutes, I thought, oh, yeah, there we go. And I really did find it a slog. The performances are good. The script, it's too meandering. You know, it's just flat. Or nothing. You know, there's a couple of scenes halfway through where they come under fire, or a truck gets hijacked, and that's about it, really. You know, I don't know about you, Mike, but it you know, kind of really did bore me to tears.
It didn't help that on both sides there was a character who looked exactly like Henry Cavill. who was like the main focus, like they got the you know, the Egyptian guy who was sent to the front to sort of film these sequences. You know, he does look like he needs to be wearing a Superman outfit, and it just so happened that on the kibbutz side, on the Israeli side, there was a similar looking character with slightly curlier hair, and for ages I'm like going, sorry, who are we following now? You know, it was a bit strange. And the, you know, the fact that it starts in media res, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But there you go. But I did like that opening, actually, with the sort of black and white photography. You know, because when that started, I was like, oh, hang on, this is interesting. You know, a bit different. But yeah, no, it is too long. But I thought it did a good job of trying to sort of, you know, it was sort of playing more to the strengths of the Israelis, I guess, but it was relatively even-handed in that it gave you a sympathetic person on the Egyptian side.
Yeah.
But if, to see, to sort of, to look through the eyes of, I guess. But yeah, it considering my expectations were very low, I thought this was pretty decent overall. Yeah, not overly boring, I must admit.
Yeah, it just didn't gel with me. It just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, Steve, what are you going to score it?
I give it a 5.
Okay, I give it a 7 out of 10. So a 5 and a 7 for Image of Victory. Go check it out.
Or go and watch Savage instead. Savage is brilliant. Love Savage.
Our short shot this week is Fatal Love. When a young man starts receiving mysterious calls from an unknown number, his marriage isn't the only thing which might not survive the night. Okay, we're definitely in sort of like Fatal Attraction area here, guys. Steve, over to you.
Yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed about this, to be fair. It's one of them where the main character, all he has to do is say, look, this woman keeps ringing me and she's off her head. And that would, kind of sort everything out. But he has to go into the melodrama of she keeps ringing, then, trying to split them up and gets kidnapped and tied up. And no. Boring, annoying. Didn't like this one at all. Really didn't. I thought the performances were terrible, especially the main guy. I thought he was dreadful. And it kind of, was it Beyonce? Or was it Beloved?
Obsessed.
Yes, that was the one. It just kind of reminded me of something like that, but in a 20-minute segment rather than, an hour and a half or whatever. And it just, it fell flat with me completely, this one.
Interesting. Rich, over to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is, you mentioned it already. I mean, it's a complete Fatal Attraction knockoff. Obsessed was one of those as well. There's been so many of them. So yeah, it's a shame it's not more original, but I thought, all things considered, I liked it. I thought it was a good version of Fatal Attraction, and you don't normally see a version of that story with a exclusively African American cast. So the film has sort of a unique sort of feel to it, and I really like the way it was shot, and the cinematography and the lighting and everything. It made it feel like a proper movie. So I quite like, Fatal Attraction or psycho thrillers or whatever, of which we used to have tons of in the 90s of various kinds. But I quite like that sort of formula. And although this sort of followed a beat for beat kind of very similar kind of thing, I didn't mind that too much. I had fun with it. I quite like the performances. Cornell Ross is the film's director. He is also the lead character, whose name is Mike. And I like the love interest. It is that kind of movie where it is like Fatal Attraction and the original, whatever. It's very on the side of the guy. It doesn't matter that he's been a jerk or whatever. We're just sort of naturally supposed to just sort of side with him, even though he's actually treating people quite poorly. So sort of take that as ready. But yeah, I like the sort of craziness of the I can't remember which of the women play that the character, which one was the crazy one, but I just thought it was fun. I liked it. I just it was a bit different. I see a lot of short films that are action or horror and whatever, and I just felt like this one felt like a different kind of genre that we don't really get to see very much of. Lots of people go into sort of fantasy and stuff, but you don't really see conventional thrillers attempted in a short film format, and I quite like that.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I didn't get a chance to see this properly. But what I did see of it, thought it worked quite well. The final scene, for example, when the cop comes out and finds, I thought that was, it did fit into that genre very well. So yeah, not too bad overall. We don't score the short shots, but we do recommend you check them out, and you will find a link to this in the footnotes below. Go check it out. Our DTV throwback this week is Backtrack. A psychotherapist has nightmares and sinister visions. Are they ghosts? Is it more than his daughter's death causing this? He returns to his childhood home and his father to put things to rest. That was the synopsis from IMDb, by the way. I didn't get a chance to write anything down for this one. This stars Adrian Brody as our psychotherapist, and one of the patients he has, I think it's his mentor, is played by Sam Neill, who's also very good in this. I really like this. It starts out as one thing and slowly develops into something completely different. If you would not guess where this film was heading at all. It starts off like, oh right, obviously this is a ghost girl or something that's coming around, but then it sort of it keeps layering things on, and I thought it worked really, really well. Steve, what are your first thoughts of this?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It does swing from like genre to genre. It starts off, like a little psychoanalyst thriller, and then supernatural element comes in, and then the ending is it starts off completely different film than what it ends up being, and I enjoyed it for that. And I thought Adrian Brody did an absolutely fantastic Aussie accent.
This
Really
is set in
nailed it.
Australia. Yeah, this is set in Australia, we should point out.
Yeah, but he absolutely nailed that, I think. And I really enjoyed it. The only thing that I found weird was his wife, who's in the film for all of 2 seconds, if that. He just buggers off, doesn't tell her where he's going or anything like that. And I get grief hits people in different ways, but I'd be absolutely pissed. You know what I mean? If someone did that with me, but
you're where?
yeah. But yeah, really. I mean, there's a couple of decent jump scares in it as well, which I weren't really expecting, especially when he's like on the train, I think it is.
Yeah.
Talking to one of his patients. And then what I would suggest is, though, if you're thinking of watching it, do not check out IMDb, because it absolutely spoils it completely.
Yeah.
I found. But yeah, no, I did enjoy it.
There's an actress in this I really like, Robin McLeavy, who plays the police officer when she goes, visits, when he goes visit home. She was in a film called The Loved Ones, which if it ever turns up on Prime,
I think I've heard of it.
It's
is
a
that
brilliant film.
Like the prom?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I do know the one. Yeah.
Yeah. She was in that, and she's awesome. She was also in the TV series Hell on Wheels. She had a recurring role in that. But she's really good in this as well. We've also got Bruce Spence, of course, because it's an Australian film. He turns up in this. I just really enjoyed it. As I said, you think you've got it pegged at the beginning as to where it's going when this sort of spooky girl turns up, and then it just goes, no, that's that's only a small part of what's actually going on, and yeah, it sort of opens up, it goes to a whole new location, and yeah, it just really delivers. It's available on Freevee, so I think you get like a couple of advert breaks. That's about it. But
I think it's on some other providers as well, like Pluto. I think it's on as well.
Oh, yeah. Directed by a guy called Michael Petroni. not familiar
Mainly a
with.
screenwriter.
Screenwriter,
Things
yeah,
like
he did the
Queen
Yeah.
of the Damned, The Book Thief, Chronicles of Narnia, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, all sorts of stuff he's done. And the Messiah TV show on Netflix, which unfortunately got cancelled after one series.
But yeah, this is definitely worth checking out. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Glad to revisit it. So there you go. That is Backtrack. And that is the end of this week's show. So thanks to Steve and Rich for sticking around.
No problem.
Sorry, I couldn't watch more.
Yeah, I thought this week's bunch, more or less, was definitely worth checking out. Couple of not exactly duds, but pull down the average a bit. But
I don't know. I feel like I watched a couple of duds, to be honest.
Well, yeah, just about. I got something out of them, I think, apart from nine rounds. But most of the stuff we covered this week, I thought was stellar. So there you go. Yep. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at the DTV Digest. Also check out the Short Shots, where Rich puts a new link to a short film every evening. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Tune in next time.
Thank you for listening to the DTV Digest. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tune in again next time.